Hey everyone, it's your lovely friend Key, and thank you for joining me for another lovely study stream. Today we're going to pick up where we left off in the last edition of this. We're studying TOGAF for the Level 1 certification, and today we're going to talk about the preliminary phase, and we're also going to move into talking about and studying phase A, B, C, and D. Um, Hey, look, there's me. um, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of prefaces. Oh, one thing. There is a cute little furry roughhouser at my feet right now. Um, I might occasionally have to course correct his behavior, but there's nothing I can do because I need to keep him around me until I get a chance to take him out for his last potty break. Because I think if I leave him in my room, he's going to use the bathroom, but he will not do it in my presence. For at least for the first part of this stream, he's going to be here, and so far he's just chilling and relaxing. He's definitely tired, but he might get a little bit beside himself and decide to go chew on something. So I got my treat bag here off screen. I don't know if you can see it. You can't see it. I got my little treat bag here, and you might hear me be like, "Oh no, stop it, leave it." Uh, that's just what it is. Okay, this is dog dad life that I'm living at this point. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. I will try my best to stay focused. I got about a good hour and a half or so to put into this. So to help me in this study process for tonight, of course, I have my official TOGAF 10 study guide, which is this on the left. My ghostly visage, of course, is covering it up so you can see my pretty mug and my Pikachu hat. On this other side, this is my study guide, which is kind of keeping me, I don't know, somewhat structured in my approach. Um, and then, of course, I have my customized TOGAF gem in Gemini. I have this set up with some resources. Let's actually see if it'll tell me. What are the resources that you have in your possession? I put the official study guide inside of this gem, but also there were some other. Oh, there was the official documentation as well. It came in multi-parts, like 6 parts. I also uploaded that into here as well. So this has access to all of the documentation. It can also just go to the website directly as well as needed. I've found that I don't need the website that much at this point because the guide has pretty much everything laid out. The only time I've found that I need to go to the website is when maybe there's like an ambiguity or maybe something just isn't clicking. But the study guide is really good. I'm not gonna lie, it's really good. Very impressed by how good it is. And my behavior so far has been to study the guide and then to use Gemini as a way to um, qualify my understanding or to ask follow-up questions. I found that that's a really good working path. And then, of course, off screen, I have my notebook where I take my notes, and it is all set up. Actually, I forgot one thing here. I had it set up for the preliminary phase notes, but I need to also add the phases in here too. So I don't know if I've mentioned this anytime recently, but my study habits are designed primarily to force me to really take ownership of the knowledge. I don't want to just read the materials, but I want to challenge myself to understand it. And I always make an effort to put things in my own words. I always make an effort to try to make the connections that are not explicitly defined in the text. Um, and I'm always trying to make sure that I satisfy all of my questions before I move on. And it's never perfect. I try not to like ruminate too much on whether or not it's perfect. But if I have a question in the moment, I'm going to generally either write it down or I'm going to ask in the moment, because it's not to me about just getting the certification and walking away with a piece of paper or whatever, or a credential. I want to be able to make use of this information so that even beyond getting a office job doing this, that this is information that I can make use of in my own self-directed professional career. That's my mo, if I'm using that that term correctly. Okay, there's a small puppy looking at me with lovely, beautiful open mouth. He's a mouth breather. Okay, let's go ahead and hop into this. So we already looked at the preliminary phase notes, so I don't think I need to belabor this particular section too much, which means I'll spend most of my time on 4.9 and 410. So ADM is used to develop the enterprise architecture capability. Okay. So what this basically here is saying is that you treat the architecture capability within your organization or within your enterprise the same way you would treat any other organization, and it needs to be set up with the same concerns and you know and resources and tools and structure and stuff. Hey, don't bite that. Leave it alone. I know that's interesting. So you weren't doing any of that until I started studying, friend. Okay. So so we need to treat architecture capability like any other organization within the how like parents, by the way, how parents say like, oh, my kid doesn't get into any trouble until they think that I'm on the phone or distracted by something, and then they want to do everything. First of all, I believe that. Uh, and second of all, dogs are exactly the same. He will literally wait till I'm on the phone talking to someone, and he will run a ruckus around the apartment. He will do spins, twirls, backflips, run into things, just run back and forth through the hallway. Everything that he would normally never do, that I normally would never let him do. And it's because these creatures, children and dogs, they figure out very quickly that the recourse of their behavior is not the same when you're when you're being observed. Like I guess he has figured out that I'm not going to correct him the same uh, when I'm on the phone. I don't want to be like I don't want to like be like too sharp or whatever and have people like judging me like, oh, you're. So usually I'll just be like, oh, stop it. It's the same thing people do with their kids, like at the store. You're at the store and your kids are like running up and down the aisle and being all wild and stuff. And you're like, down, little Johnny, calm down, because yeah, that's how dogs are. But I'm learning to get over that because it is better to be consistent with your training and with your discipline than it is to not. So he knows that I will correct him, but he'll still try it though. Okay, so yes, so whether you're talking about like finance capability or portfolio, organizational strategy, you are treating this like an organization, um, and so setting up this capability is a part of the preliminary phase. And this capability also needs to be. You can use the TOG. Was it? You can use the ADM process to set up the capability because as a part of an enterprise, it needs to be architected. I suppose. So setting up the context specific for the enterprise architecture capability. Okay, so let's just write this down. We'll say specifying for enterprise. Good boy. Good job. Setting business objectives. So I guess that's like within our business, why do we need a architecture capability? And in terms of the business, what is it? What is its objectives? What is it doing for us? Setting up governance. So governance has a set of rules and uh, architecture principles, a vision. No. That's not. That's for assessment. What is it? I had something about this written somewhere. Okay, so the governance is like a board, and they oversee the implementation of architecture strategy. It consists of key stakeholders and executives. They are in charge of making decisions, ensuring consistency and compliance, and also improving the maturity of the architectural practices within the enterprise. And obviously making choices whenever there are changes to the architecture as well. Okay, so alignment with other frameworks. I don't know what other frameworks there are, but that makes sense. Customization of architectural content in meta model. That makes sense. You're doing such a good job, boy. I might let you hang out with me more on the stream. I should get a special doggy cam and have it like somewhere where y'all can see him. Also, so that I can watch him on my screen. Okay, established organizational model, an architecture team. And team. Established process model. Okay, create architecture capability road map. Establish. We already talked about that one. Establish and evolve capability. Okay, that's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff and things. But we like stuff and we like things, so okay, cool. I had one question for this section. What is process model? By the way, there were some audio issues in my last stream whenever I switched to the full camera. So my little like wise, aphorism or whatever, my proverbial statement at the end that I always try to do, it did not come through clear. So I will redo it or attempt to re-say what I was going to say the last time. Apologies. I think that's been broken for the last two streams, and I don't know what happened, but I just I unified my audio input across my different scenes, so hopefully that prevents issues in the future or anomalies between the different scenes. Okay, so the process model is a representation of the process of the enterprise, specifically in TOGAF. When we talk about process models, we are often referring to activity models and business process models. Okay, we haven't quite gotten, looks like we haven't gotten to process model stuff yet. So it's okay that I don't quite know what process model means. Okay, I'm not gonna trip over that part then. So it's really saying it's like these are the two. Okay. So really the two things, the crux here is determine architecture capability desired and establish architecture capability. So review the context, identify the scope, and scope the elements, identify, establish frameworks, methods, and processes that intersect with architecture capability and capability maturity target. Okay. Cool beans. Let's continue. So I think we're good on this part here. I think I can just add a couple of highlightations so that I thought this was real important here. Okay. So now we're going to talk about phase. Phase A. The small little section. Well, I might be able to get through quite a bit tonight if these are small. Maybe we can get through. Maybe we can get through the whole the phases here. We might be able to. I mean, I don't need to have every single little detail memorized or anything. I just need to get some exposure, really. Okay, I'm gonna do this for 20 more minutes, and then I'm gonna take a break, let him go potty, and get myself a little shake, a little protein shake. Okay, so phase A, identify key stakeholders. So this is architecture vision. Where's my graphic? There was like a little graphic that we had. Here it is. So A is architecture vision. Can I put a bookmark here? Is it like a bookmark? There we go. Okay. Okay. How do I see my bookmarks? Is that it? Okay. I don't like the way that is making me choose one or the other. Okay. So phase A is the architecture vision. A for architecture vision. So we are trying to identify key stakeholders and reach an agreement in the architecture vision document on a summary of the target and the work to reach the target. Boy, good job. You did such a good job. And the architecture document has a summary of the target and the work to reach the target. Cool. And then assess the capability of architecture team, I guess, is a part of this. Assess. Develop a high level aspirational vision of the capabilities and business value to be delivered as a result of the proposed enterprise architecture. Obtain approval for a statement of architecture work that defines a program of works. Okay. And deploy the architecture outline. Oh, outline in the architecture vision. Okay. So this part here is about business value. So what's the business value? Okay, cool. I actually don't have any questions about this section. This seems uh, pretty evident. So there's a setup, and then there are completion essentials. I guess that's the two parts here. Two parts. I guess the completion essentials are kind of about like, what are you aiming for before you start all of this heavy lifting and moving things around and shucking and jiving, basically. Um, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so phases A, B, and C, these are all of the architecture things that are related to business, data, application, and technology. These are the things that we're going to have to do the bulk of the work to reconstruct or to change. I would say that this is the center point of the architecture work. And then everything else after this is about solutioning and making an actual change. Yeah, so this is the core. I'm going to call these core phases. Core phases. Faciones. I would really love to make some type of script or some type of like app so that like every time I take a break or something, it gives me a new vocabulary word that I can think about during my break. And but here's the catch: I want it to be in a different foreign language that I'm trying to learn. Huh. That would be like a really fun, and then I could just leave it on the screen as my break screen. I want to learn Sanskrit, or not Sanskrit. I want to learn Hindi. I want to learn how to speak Hindi, and then I want to learn Sanskrit. Maybe I'll make something like that, like a little wait screen, language, vocabulary tool. But I want the words to be related to this, so I can eventually do my job overseas. That'd be cool. Okay, we're gonna start off with phase B. Phase B. In phase B, B is for business. B is for business. Business architecture. Oh wait, how does how to change, enable their price to meet the performance changes, how to say goes. Okay, cool. So phase B, develop the target business architecture that describes how the enterprise needs to operate to achieve the business goals and respond to the strategic drivers set out in the architecture vision in a way that addresses the statement of architecture work and stakeholder concerns. That is a mouthful. Identify candidate architecture roadmap components based upon gaps between the outline or the baseline and target business architecture. I understand this. This is going to be a pretty consistent theme because every time you make a change from a baseline architecture to a target, there's always going to be the potential for gaps that need to be assessed. Okay, so let's break this one down. We're going to develop the target business architecture. And that needs to operate to achieve business goals. So there are business goals. Then there are strategic drivers. And then there are stakeholder concerns. And respond to strategic drivers set out. And those strategic drivers are in the architecture vision. Okay. Let me just make sure I'm fully understanding this. I know that I think I understand it, but I want to hear this in another way. Explain this in another way. Do 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 do. Oh. My dog is such a heavy mouth breather. Sometimes it drives me a little crazy, especially when I'm trying to sleep or like just relax. I'm just like, bro, you're over here. Just come on, man. Come on. Oh, they changed this interface. When did they get this little thing here? One thing about Google is that they gonna definitely change their apps fast, quickly, and because I feel like every time I come on this thing, it's like they added something different that I ain't never seen before. Oh, maybe this is okay. It just looks like this one. The screen is narrow. Okay, I guess I had never had it narrow enough for this pop-up to happen. This is kind of nice. I wish it did this in the wide, because it is very annoying to have to go all the way down to the bottom just to use the audio reading feature. Okay, so original statement is blah, blah, blah. Okay. The main goal here is to create a blueprint for how the business should ideally work in the future. Okay. This future state plan needs to clearly show the operational changes required for the company to meet the main objectives and adapt to the important internal and external pressures. So, okay. So, and strategic drivers are internal and external pressures. And that were agreed upon when the vision for the architecture was set. This blueprint must stick to the agreed upon project scope. and deliverables. So the architecture the statement of architecture work is the agreed upon scope and deliverables. I feel like it didn't tell me what that word or that term meant before. Architecture statement of work. It said vision document. So is a vision document the statement of work? I think they're the same thing. Let me just ask to make sure. There's so many words and specific terms. There's a lot. Okay. Okay, we're gonna come back to that. I might need to do another section of my notes about that actually. So for now, we're just gonna stick with this thing here. Why is it giving me alternatives? I just wanted you to explain it in just one way, bro. Don't whine too much, bro. They gonna hear you. German Shepherds are very emotionally expressive dogs. Let me say that. The way that this little creature here will whine, yawn, it's good though because I'm not good at like body language and stuff like that, even with people. But I will say that I picked the right breed of dog because I can always tell what my dog is feeling because he is so expressive that it's just very obvious. Whereas I think if I had a dog that was not, I think I would just like fail to pick up certain like cues. You know what I mean? Like right now, I can tell he's just bored. He's bored and tired. You can come study if you want to. I don't think you're gonna enjoy it, bro. I need to get a dog cam so y'all can see him. Okay, so the blueprint must stick to the agreed-upon project scope and deliverables and the needs. Satisfy the needs and worries of the key stakeholders. Okay, so that's cool. So to summarize, the goal of the business architecture phase B is to think about or to consider the actual business goals and think about what does the business need to be able to do and when this change occurs, what are the drivers for this change, and then what are the stakeholder concerns, and then I guess all of that will result in some change to the business model to accommodate for the architecture vision. Data application and technology. how the enterprise needs to operate in the future. So the business model is how the enterprise creates, delivers, and captures value. I don't think that was a vocabulary word. You ready to go potty? Not yet. Sit down. That was not an invitation. Okay, stop it. Wait. Okay. Sit. 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 Down. Down. Oh Lord, I said the P word. That's when I knew I messed up. That's one thing about my dog is that he knows words and he does not get confused as much as you would think a dog does. Sometimes I test my dog. In fact, um, I will give him words that sound similar to the word that I want to say to see if he will, like, for example, if I need him to follow a command or whatever, I will like use words that rhyme. I'll use words that have a similar, same syllables. I'll just like pretend or fake it or use the wrong word to see if he will actually listen for the correct word. And he's pretty good. So he knows when I say the POTTY word, he's like, I know what to expect, and you need to deliver on apparently what is a promise just for being said. He just wants to go outside and collect sticks. That's really what he's all about. That's his life right now. He doesn't give a damn about actually using the bathroom. He just wants a reason to go find a stick. He's been creating a pile of sticks near the back door. And if I try to get rid of the sticks, he will go and regather them. Or he'll think I'm trying to play fetch if I throw them out the way. This is becoming an increasing concern in my life, in fact. This is really, really a problem. He might need to go to therapy, honestly. Okay. Now he's licking my feet. Hey, bro. I'm trying to focus. Okay, I got like 3 minutes. Give me like 3 minutes. I got 5 minutes. Oh man, trying to study with the dog out. This is new for me. Hey, chill, dude. What are you doing? I know my socks are the most potent essence of the person you love the most in this world, but you're gonna have to chill out, bro. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so the business model is a description of how the enterprise creates, delivers, and captures value. We haven't gotten to that page yet, so it will talk about that soonish. Okay. Okay, yes, and so we might have to revisit this business architecture thing later. I guess another question I have is the business architecture communicated through diagrams in such a way application architecture might be. I think the answer is yes, of course, but I just want to see what it's going to tell me. Maybe there's other ways. I'm thinking like architectural diagrams can display other types of things aside from software, infrastructure, and data and stuff like that. Other visual artifacts. Okay. Oh, this is a lot. Business capability map. Value stream map. Organization decomposition diagram. Process flow diagram. Cool. Okay. I cannot wait to just do these little things for my own business idea. I feel like it'll be a lot of fun. Okay, so let's go back and summarize this so we can move on. The goal of the business architecture is to develop the target business architecture, which I apparently is captured or described in the form of these deliverables, which are like diagrams and maps of things. Down. Okay, I gotta go here because he's getting restless and he's wanting to interact with me. Yeah, so basically that desired target is going to be communicated like any other type of architecture. It's going to take into account the business goals, strategic drivers, which are internal and external pressures. And these things need to be in agreement with the architecture vision and the statement of architecture work. Before I take him out, there's one more thing I want to look at. Make a table describing the differences between architecture, statement of work, and architecture vision document. What they're used for and what they consist of. So I understand the distinction. I have a Cinnabon in the refrigerator. I just remembered that. Cinnabon. I went to my favorite restaurant. My favorite friend, Wendy. She came through on a little cinnamon pull apart Cinnabon thing, whatchamacallit. I love them. I always get a burger and then I get the Cinnabon pull apart. And then I know that I'm going to get full just from the burger and the obscenely large beverage that always comes with it. And so I always have a little moment where I'm like, the cinnamon bun is too much. I've already done too much. I'm already being unhealthy and I'm not going to eat this. So I put it aside, and then always, every single time, without fail, within about an hour and a half maybe, I get a sudden, deep, internal, depthful craving for that cinnamon pull apart. Okay? It's like there's some type of weird spirit that comes in the burger that manifests through some type of weird alchemical occult process, such that in that time span, usually out of nowhere, I'm like, cinnamon pull apart, where's it at? You know, and I know that even though I do get full from just the burger and the beverage, I know that if I throw the cinnamon bun away or if I don't get it, I'm gonna be really upset at myself. I know this, and the saddest part is that I've had this combination enough in my life to have figured out the details enough to explain it. Makes me a very sad human being, or I can be proud of myself because I have self-knowledge. I don't know which way to go with that. Okay, so it made our table here. Here it goes. Okay, so let's look at the this is a big old table. Okay, I was hoping for some. Oh, what's with the formatting here? simplify this. Also, don't format within the cells. Keep it simple and explain in layman's terms. I don't know what a layman is, but explain it in layman's terms. Okay. What is layman? Is layman like a derogatory way to refer to someone who isn't smart? Or am I a layman? Okay. I feel like layman is kind of an insult. Okay, what is it for? Okay, its main job. So the architecture vision document, it's the big picture. It shows everyone what the company or project wants to become or achieve with the new architecture, why it's important. The statement of architecture work is like a specific to-do list or a project contract for the architects. It spells out exactly what architecture work needs to be done. Okay, so the vision document is like the big picture, the why, and the goals that are being aimed for. And I guess this is to garner support. What is up with you? My dog is really liking my feet right now. I'm not comfortable with this relationship. You're creeping me out, broski. Hey, out, 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 down. No, 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 right here. Down, down. No, no, down. See, we could have been done with this 5 minutes ago, but all the time that I'm about to take to get you to chill out. See, until your time to go potty. I shouldn't have said the word potty. He's gonna get more excited. Okay, so the statement of architecture work, in contrast, is the specific to-do list. List, which is also known as the project contract. For the architects. And that is what exactly to do. The limits, the division of responsibilities, and then I'll say like I'll just use the word acceptance criteria. I know this is not an acceptance criteria thing like a JIRA ticket, but it's kind of what I'm getting here. Is like how to know if you did a good job is basically like acceptance criteria ish. I'll say criteria for evaluating work. So the vision document details the problems that are trying to be fixed and a peek at what the improvement will be like. And previous a solution. Um, points out benefits. The statement of work is a list of the tasks. We already said that. Boundaries. Scope. Who is involved? What reports and diagrams to create? Timeline. Okay. Okay. I think it's time for me to take a break. So I can take this little stinky boy out, my little doggy. I'm gonna take a. I'm gonna do a 15-minute break. We've been streaming for an hour because I want to make myself a beverage and also get my little banana in there as well, and chill out for a second. So don't go too far, but if you go anywhere, make sure you come on back to the wolf pack. I'll be right here. And while you're at it, get yourself a little snack too. You deserve a little treat as well. Okay. I'll see you in about 15 minutes. Peace. Yo, I'm back. Okay, that took a little longer than I thought. I got a little distracted, but we are good to go. And I think I got like an hour left in me. Uh, it's already so late. We'll see. I'm definitely gonna get through this section, and then maybe what we'll do is we'll just like speed read through 411 and 412. Let's look at our study guide. We'll speed through. Uh, yeah, we'll just speed through 411, 12, and 13 just to get a little bit of a preview. And then that should decrease the amount of time we have to spend when we get around to actually studying it. So, however long it takes to do that and finish what we're working on right now, that's how long I'll be on. So, because it is 1:30 a.m. This is already late. Okay, where was I? Before I left, I had looked at the difference between the architecture vision document and the statement of work. The vision document is like the bigger picture, the why, and describing the problems and what we hope to be able to do once those problems are addressed. Then the statement of work is like the actual breakdown, like what work needs to be done, who needs to do it, what needs to be made, and then what are the criteria for evaluating that work, as well as the limitations. Okay, so back to core phases. We'll talk about phase C now, which is data structure or data architecture. Phase C has two parts: it's data architecture, and it's also application architecture. These two go hand in hand, although they're different architecture versions. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. I think what's of note with these two is that really these are just two domains that are being grouped together, and man, we gotta go way back. This is a deep cut to the beginning. My notes. Oh, this is also called information systems architecture. That's probably the better name for this. Let's actually let's do this. Did I delete it? Oh shoot. Let's try it again. Is there a way to make this text turned on a side? I didn't think of that one. That would be too good to be true. We'll just put it right here. And then we'll pop in arrow. Oh, where'd he go? I must be tripping. I feel like that disappeared, or maybe I just opened it. I don't know. Oh, this is in the wrong section. This needs to go over here. Oh, I see what happened. I went to a different page. That's what happened. Delete that and go back up here. There you go. So this is information system architecture. This thing right here. Just do this. And a nice deep arch. I need like a bracket symbol. That's fine. I think this is clear enough. Can I add another bezier curve in there? Oh, okay. Never mind. This is good enough. Okay. I thought I had something in my notes about more about these two. Like a more specific definition of what the boundary is. I mean, I know in my head intuitively, but I feel like it was said in a much more beautiful way before. Okay, here it is. I think. Wait. No. Wait. So with application architecture, that is what applications are needed and how they work together to support the business function and manage the data. So I'll just say application architecture is for applications to support business function and manage data. My dog is playing with his little plastic bone toy, and he is going ham. I can hear it. Okay, I guess I can do the same type of note for data architecture. I could go to the TOGAF website. I think they have something there. That was about that. Oh, that was it. I was just looking at it. No, thank you. Okay, let's just search it, I guess. So data architecture is for logical and physical data. Oh, these notes are messy. And for data management resources. It's okay if your notes are messy, by the way. You in fact don't need to always go back and read your notes. It'll vary depending on your memory. Um, but just the act of writing your notes down, that is also extremely valuable, even if you don't go back and read them. The writing it down, putting things in your own words, simplifying and manipulating the language, that is what's going to help you get that memory of what you're learning. So yeah, my notes are super messy. Okay. And now we'll go to technology architecture. Which is phase D. This one notes look like, by the way. It's not super easy to see here. Let's take a look here. Oh gosh. Oh, I have green highlighters, so the green highlighters interfering with my green screen. But that's what my notes basically look like on the paper. So you can see here it's really, really messy. Really, really messy. I use mind mapping almost exclusively for my notes at this point. It's like a combination of mind mapping, and sometimes I'll use traditional note-taking style, but the mind map strategy helps a lot. This whole notebook is for mind maps, by the way, of just different things. Let's see here. Sometimes they're not complete. Yeah. So leave your notes messy. For it, if they're messy, you can go back and rewrite them, and they'll help you even more. So, okay, let's knock out this last part of this section, technology. So, I mean, there's like basically a structure here. The first one is to develop the architecture. The second one is to identify the roadmap components and the gaps or whatever. I think that's like the real important thing here is that developing architecture and then identifying gaps. And you're doing that with all of the different architectural domains whenever you started on a set of work defined in your statement of work. And this is the core of the ADM phases, where the actual worky work is done, which is the technical jargon. Okay, so technology enables the vision, target business, data, and application building blocks to be delivered through technology components and technology services in a way that addresses the statement of. Okay, that's going to be a little bit of a mouthful, but let's go ahead and get that. Phase D, tech architecture. I feel like whenever I get my first job interview for this, I'm just going to take my notes with me and be like, you should believe me. I know what I'm talking about. Look at my notes. And they're going to be like, I can't read this. You should go be a doctor if you're going to write this poorly. Okay, so I also did have a nice definition of architecture technology. So technology architecture is about the underlying how, um, and the infrastructure for the hardware, software, middleware, and platforms. And this is stuff that's required to host the applications. Um, I'm assuming that this also will include deployment and automations as well. Um, in chapter 3, we talked about digital architecture. I'm assuming, I wonder if digital architecture and technology architecture are referring to the same thing. I think application and data is digital architecture. So technology architecture is the deployment of digital architecture, the hardware and the software. So we'll just say delivery through technology services, and we'll also say deployment. Okay, this is one of those few instances where I think I do need to go and look at the actual documentation here. Normally I don't need to, but for this one I want to make sure I understand exactly what's included in this one. What is this? Okay. Okay, when I think about the technology architecture as opposed to the data, this is how I'm thinking about it. It seems like we have Actually, let's get some mind mapping going on here. Let's use freeform. Systems and tech. So what comes to mind for me is that, I only have one. Okay, is that we have three different entities here, or not entities, but architectural domains. So we have information systems architecture, and information systems architecture has two categories, subgroups. So we have the data architecture, and then we have application architecture. Like that. And we can make these smaller. Like this. Okay, and then there's also the technology architecture. Let's make these a different color. And then we'll get some nodes, nodal connections here. How do I do that again? I think it's just this. Let's use the one with the curves. Okay, and then we have this. So what it seems like to me is that the distinction here is that data is about information itself. And that information could be like customer information, or let's just say data itself. Data itself, data management, databases, of course, data policies. I'm just kind of brainstorming here. These are all things I think about when I think about data. Whereas the application makes me think about, front end, of course, back end. Both of these are concerned with like features that enable processes. And those processes can be internal things, like let's say you have an app that allows you to come up with like invoices or calculate, profits or whatever. Or that could be like an app that is for like a customer facing application or it could even be an internal application that's used by employees at your company or whatever. In all those different ways, those are applications. So applications are functionalities that enable um, some process. Let's choose gray. When I think about the technology, I think about how is this stuff deployed and then made available for use. I'm going to take this little graphic and I'm going to give it to Gemini here in a few moments to see if it agrees with my thought process here. So when I think about technology, I think about how information systems are made, are deployed, automations, and DevOps, perhaps. Hardware and software infrastructure. What else? And hardware here doesn't have to just be like servers and stuff, but like let's say that let's say you have like a store, like a big box retail store, and your customer service agents or your sales floor representatives or your cashiers, maybe they're using an application that enables them to do their job, like a point of sales, or maybe some type of handheld device, to scan products or whatever. That's a part of the technology infrastructure as well. That's the hardware part. And then the automations and DevOps, that's like all the stuff that happens to enable the application development and to ensure its quality and delivery. DevOps might exist somewhere in between these two things, honestly. I'm gonna just see what happens. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. I'm gonna ask Gemini what it thinks. Okay. Yes, it's arguing Friday. Offers a reasonable high level overview. Let's break down why, add some references to deeper. Okay. Where did my mind mapping or I don't like this stage thing, but I also like it sometimes. It's so annoying though. Okay. Databases, while physical data assets and data stores are mentioned, databases is common. Yeah, let's just call it data store. PS7. Physical data assets, logical data assets, we'll say governance. And let's make all this into a bullet list. And just put that there like that. Let's also make this into a bullet list. And we'll just tab that in. Boom, bam, bop, bing bong. And then technology, services, and platforms. Okay. The nice thing about doing this approach when you're studying, like where you're making like little diagrams and visualizations, is that this stuff makes really good collateral for social media. If you want to, like, show people what you're learning and what you studied, you can always just take this thing and put this on a LinkedIn or whatever. And it's also good to look back on. Is there anything missing? Not for medical advice or diagnosis. Okay. Overkill a little much, a little worried. You see, it says something about medical. I'm not asking for medical advice. Like, what's up, little buddy? It's a little weird. AI be tripping. Okay. Okay, yeah, we don't need the business architecture because that's not what this is about. I'm really thinking about the relationship between information systems and technology architecture, so we can ignore that. Under application architecture, so application services. Okay, I like that. Let's do that here. And that is features. Oh wait, what did it say? Functionality exposed by application. Okay. Hmm. Okay. I think that this is better. Yep. Okay. Cool beans. I'm glad I did that. Okay, let's go back to this. So we've cleared this section of our notes, and I think I can probably add. Give me some good definitions here. Let's see. Write the definition of information systems architecture and technology architecture, which I'll add to my diagram. Also make an introductory header that explains the relationship between the two. These should be 3 lines of text. I can copy over. I just want to make sure that my little visual diagram here has useful information so that whenever I come back to use it later on to review, that it's like clear, like why I made it and what it's for. Because I've definitely made notes before, like visual diagrams, and I'm like, why? I know what this looks like, but why did I make this? What was I trying to remember when I made this? So then we'll take this one and we'll just plop it down right here. Oh, excuse me. And we'll make this text. I'm not a huge fan of this font. What are our options? System font, sure. And then I want to keep that same font. And then we'll just take this. Nope, I didn't keep that. Okay, that's fine. And we'll do 18. Cool. And let's go ahead and put a box. I probably should have put the box. Should have put the text in the box. That's what I should have done. And we'll do no fill. Black. Doesn't look like 18-point text, does it? It doesn't seem like that's 18-point text. Am I tripping? That's not 18-point text. This is Look, this is two different. Something about this is annoying me. We're gonna go back to doing it the way that I was gonna do it, which is just not gonna do it that way. I think it's fine if I leave it as is and I just throw it a little arrow and call it a day. Oh, nope, okay. Obviously, I'm getting tired. We'll do this the other way then, I guess. Oh, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord. Lord Jesus. Okay. There you go. And we'll take this one and we'll do the same thing. And we'll just put that here. It looks like the text size is relative to the container, not to... Oh, I see what happens. There's a minimum. Oh, I see. Okay. So if the container is not big enough to fully accommodate for the size text that I'm telling it, it'll make it smaller. That's what's happening. That is a weird way to build that. That was a weird decision Apple made when they put this together. Okay, but now I know how that works. Okay, so 18-point font is only 18-point font as long as the container can hold it. Otherwise, they're going to force it to be smaller. I'm sure there's a user manual for... Nobody ever reads a user manual for Apple apps. It just doesn't get done. No one does it. Except psychos. Let's put a border around these now. And now since we have it like that, we can do this. Too big. Technology architecture provides the foundation, hardware, software infrastructure, standards. should make this more obvious that it is phase C. And this is phase D. Uh-oh. I've had 14 views and 4 concurrent people being voyeuristic in my study process. Look at that. I'm successful. My life has meaning. We don't need to mention the business texture. Just focus on information systems and technology. That's what I want. That's what I have wanted. So let's take this and we'll just replace this text here. I wish there was like a way to paste something in while keeping the text style, but apparently that's not a thing. Apparently. So we'll go back to, what was it, 24? And we'll update the font to system font. And then I do like the emphasis and the bolding whatnots. So we'll re-add those. Oops. This is crazy. All of this is one sentence. Lord Jesus. Okay, it is 2:20. I should not be yelling. My neighbors probably think I'm crazy. Okay, technology architecture. It provides the foundational hardware, software, infrastructure, standards, technical services required to support and enable. I think this text right here is really the crux. It's the main thing. We don't need this thus business. Okay, so I think that this is what I feel comfortable with. Oops. Why do you think I want to tilt this text? Okay. We can make this just a teensy bit smaller. Let's try 21 is good. And I think what I want to do also is I want to put all of this behind or in front of some background. And we'll just send that to the back. Thank you, don't want that to be exactly that gray. Just a little bit of something something. And then we'll add a border, 2-point border. We'll make that border like that. This is a nice little cute graphic for LinkedIn, you know. It's very much giving professional, very much giving I studied, very much giving. Oh, we need a title on this. I need a title for this graphic. Yeah, I think I might be done after this, honestly. We've been streaming for 2.5 hours. I think I might call it a day after this. I like this one. Core elements of data application and technology architectures. Yeah. Let's say, let's make this bigger though. I'm gonna edit this, make it slightly different language. I'm gonna say information systems instead though. That title, let's just say elements of. Okay. I feel like I need an emoji or something. Let's find a nice, cute little emoji to put in here. Is there an emoji for like data? How about, ooh, I like this one. It's my favorite. It just reminds me of like Invader Zim or something. Oh my god, Invader Zim. Oh, that was such a good show. Okay. Like it's you know what? Actually, no. It's giving like Leet Haxor. It's giving Leet Haxor. Okay, and oh, it got rid of my emboldments. Let's go back and re-add them, I guess. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to, while I'm at this, I'm gonna take my business card, because you know we gotta keep it on brand. Take my business card, and I'm gonna put it in here because I gotta do some self promotion if it's gonna be on LinkedIn. That's one thing about LinkedIn or any social media is when you put something out there, just remember that other people might come across it, or they might reshare it. So if you put a little something something to help them know who you are or who made it, it could turn into a lead. I don't know if that actually is large enough to work. Here, let's scoot all of this stuff up just a little bit to make some more space. Yeah, make it easy for people to find you. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. We could also move these two. Let's lock this. We can also move these two up as well. I learned, just from using my own social media over the years, like, first of all, people will definitely steal your stuff and take ownership of it. But then also, you don't want to worry about that stuff. You can't help that. That's going to happen. If your voice matters, it's going to be stolen. But also, more importantly, people might want to know more, or they might want to connect with you because they have questions or interested in you. So make it easy on them by using your branding, whatever you have, to enable people to connect with you. I want to use my business card. However, my phone number is on it, and I don't need nobody calling me. Oop. Oh, I could use this. Do I want to use the? I have different. I'm so happy that I had my designer to work with on this stuff because he really did right by me when it comes to the design work. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the way the universe be working out. Actually, I don't like that particular one. Let me use the other one. Here we go. Look at the way the universe work out. Oh, that even matches. We could probably modify this just a little bit, but look at that. I don't even need this whole thing. I'm gonna crop this like this here. Oops. I'm gonna crop it so that little red line's not in there. Yeah. Over here too. Look at that. Look at the way that the universe favors me. Amen. A woman. Okay. It's not perfect, but whatever. It's good enough. We'll just do it like that. And I kind of want this text to match a little bit better. Let's use, oh, that's nice. That's fine how that is. We'll just make this bold and we'll drop the size a little bit. Maybe a little bit larger. This is a good way to end off this stream. And I'll put like a little something down here, a little something, something. We'll just say, oops, we'll just say, you scan the QR code to learn more. And we'll this in rouge, and we'll make it bold. Look at that. Oh, okay. Instead of the little thing here, let's do our wolf. Let's do our little wolfie. Mm-hmm. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Um, I think this is good. We got through our study, and we made a little like promotional study graphic for LinkedIn, and I think I think this is you know, saying we could be happy with how this turned out. Yeah, not too bad at it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. Um, it's been 2 hours 35 minutes. I gotta go to bed so I can do this hopefully again tomorrow. And yeah, I'm super proud of you, by the way, because I know you were working on your own thing as well, and I know you got a lot accomplished. And yeah, it's always good when we can just get stuff done. Here's what my notes look like for the end of day. My green highlighter is tripping me out. Okay, so at the end of my streams, I always like to give, you know, some type of inspirational Oprah Winfrey style little vibe. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I had audio issues the last time, so I wanted to redeliver what my last message was. And this is advice. This is advice for anyone out there who is new to their career, and possibly for a person out there who is struggling with the transition, trying to figure out what the future looks like and how to take this path and make it work for the long run. So one thing I've learned in my short time in this career, which has been a whole 7 years at this point, probably a little more than that. Okay. This is what I've learned, okay, in my time working in technology, which feels like it's been my whole life. This is a very stressful and mentally draining field. And I know that when I decided to make the leap and go into enterprise, big business, corporate work, like a lot of people, I was drawn to the promise of money, success, acknowledgments, and wealth. Um, you know, we've all seen the advertisements, we've all seen the YouTube videos and shorts and whatnot, where what's being promoted is this idea of get into tech, make a whole lot of money, live your dream life, work remotely, a life of leisure and luxury, essentially. And a lot of times, what that message activates in people is what I call chasing the dragon. So, to all of you out there who are my companions in this journey in the world of technology, what I want to encourage you to do is to not chase the dragon. Now, if you know what that means, you're probably a person who reads fantasy and fiction. So, in fantasy and lore, the dragon is this beast or this monster that you go on a quest to discover and defeat and reclaim all of the prized possessions that it hoards in its cavern, right? And the hope is that you can return home with all this treasure, and now you're rich. Now you're a king. Now you get to live in your castle and afford all the niceties of life that you dreamed of for so much, from so much of your life. Unfortunately, for most adventurers, by the time you get to that dragon, that treasure may not be there. By the time you get to the cavern, the dragon might not even be there, i.e., the job. So, what's the point I'm getting at here? Whatever you choose to do in life, whatever adventure you choose to go on in your journey, it's really important to make sure that you have a deeper reason than just the treasure you may find at the end. Now, I personally believe that you're always going to get something out of your quest, but it may not always be the thing that you believe you're going to get out of it. Okay? So just because there isn't some big treasure at the end doesn't mean it was worthless. However, when you go into it with an open mind and you do this work because of a deep passion and a love, and because of what I would call trying to pursue karma yoga. Karma yoga is about duty. It's about the impact you can have on the world. It's about the service you can provide to make the world a better place and to contribute your unique skills and capacities to society. When you do it that way, then your treasures will be bountiful, not just in your pockets, but in terms of giving you a life that has real substance to it. There are a lot of people who may have chosen to go down a certain career path just because of the money, just because of the pursuit of some material or superficial reward. And sure, there are plenty of people who got that. But when times get hard, when industries change, when things get rocky, when the future is unpredictable, that dream and that dragon can turn on you. And it may not be the thing you actually want. And after years and years and years of investing, you can find yourself not on an adventure, but stuck in the wilderness. And that's something that many people have made the mistake, and it's not the end of the world. But I say all of this because the tech world is going through a really, really hard time right now. And it's gone through this before. The economy goes up and down and industries wax and wane. But what you want out of your career, most likely, is something that you can invest in for decades, that you can see real growth. And for the amount of time that we put into doing this type of work, you want to have something that is worth the long-term investment. So the question is, do you love what you do enough to stick with it until a brighter day? Do you have that passion and that commitment to make it through the hard times? Comparative advantage is a really important thing no matter what you pursue in life. And there's no better advantage you can give yourself than love. Love for what you do, and to love the active service that you can provide in your craft. And if you find that with doing technology work or coding or programming or whatever it is, that is so beautiful. And I hope that that's what it is for you, because that's what it is for me. Now, the beautiful part of all of this is that maybe you've never thought of this before. Maybe this is the first time you're hearing someone lay it out quite like this. When I started my tech career, I didn't really start from a position of loving it. Now, I had this long history. It goes back to when I was a kid and I first learned how to program, and going through middle school and high school and volunteering for the library, working in technology, computer repair and maintenance, going to graduate school, doing creative coding, animate. You know, there's all these things, right? And the beautiful part is that love for what you do doesn't really need to be intrinsic. It doesn't have to feel like this mystical revelation that's been with you your whole life. You can nurture and you can grow that. So if you don't feel that way right now, then all you need is to set your mind on it. And that too is good enough. So I wish you well, and in your journey, I hope that you find the same love and passion that I have. And I hope you can use that to spread light to other people and to the world and to make the world a better place and with what you do. And I'm obviously tired, so I'm going to get off of here. And I want to thank you for watching the stream and being with me, because studying and being excellent is so much easier when you don't have to do it alone. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. Bye. If you're still watching, by the way, there's this survey down below in the description. It would help out a lot if you would fill out that survey. It helps me get to know who you are, what you care about, and what you want to see on this channel. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.